by John Lennon that he said, life happens when you're busy making other plans. And I think that's such a great quote because it kind of embodies having to be adaptable. Whatever kind of you plan out might change, and you just kind of have to be ready for whatever life throws at you.
All right, everyone. So I'm here with Kyle Langan. He's an author and a media consultant. He's got a new book coming out this weekend titled Uncharted Waters. How are you, Kyle?
Good. How are you? Thanks so much for having me.
I'm doing really well. It's a great pleasure to get to talk with you today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm really excited because this Friday, actually, I have a book coming out, so I'm really excited for that. It's been kind of a very up and down kind of journey in the publishing world. The book is called Uncharted Waters, and it's a young adult novel that I wrote in 2009, actually, and I submitted it to a publisher, and it got picked up, which was really exciting. And I was signed to do a 3-book deal, which was even more exciting. Like, I couldn't believe kind of my good fortune. And then
3-book deal, wow.
Yeah, so it was really exciting. And then the publisher declared bankruptcy, and it all fell apart.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it was really almost too good to be true. But
that's so destructive for you. You have a 3-book deal. It was all coming together, and then bam, something so unpredictable like that takes place.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, I always kind of try and take away, like, what can I learn from this experience, and what's kind of the lesson, So
is that a natural trait of yours, or was that something you had to really dive into and say, if there's ever a time that I need you to get it together, it's now? Or is this something, you've had lots of practice with? Are you good under pressure and dealing with these types of things?
I'm pretty resilient, I would say. And I think even more than that is just being adaptable. So while, I had this, seemingly great deal happening, I was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out. So what can I do? It might not look like the traditional kind of publishing route that I had envisioned for myself, but what can I do that's a little bit different and still kind of get my goal met, So after kind of going back and forth, I was like, well, I'm not making any money off of the first time that it was published. It was out for 2 weeks or something. So I was like, I'm just going to self-publish this book and really kind of give it the life that it kind of deserves. So I added a bunch of new chapters and content and kind of rebranded the book essentially. And it's finally coming out this Friday. So I'm really excited about it because it's been such a long time coming, and it's such a fun kind of light story that I think after last year, everyone kind of needs.
Absolutely. And so it's entirely self-published. Now that moving forward, you've decided to put this out because you believe that this needs to be out for the world to read. Well,
it sounds loftier when you say it, but yeah, I think it's a really, again, it's not like the next great American novel by any means, but it's very fun, and it's all about kind of exploring different staying open-minded to new experiences and how they can kind of shape you. So that's kind of the theme with it, but it's, again,
absolutely.
It's
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I really can't wait.
No, that's really exciting because you know what? Our current authors are the ones that are telling the stories for the people in the future to learn from. And that's sort of what we need. We live in a new world. So for people to write these stories, be more open-minded, be more open to new, exciting situations. It really opens up for a lot of freedom and a lot of creativity that the future is going to just soak in and enjoy.
Absolutely. And I think, we're living in such a progressive time. Things are changing so fast. And if we don't kind of
absolutely
be open to all of that, I think it can be kind of detrimental. And, I'll say just about self-publishing that I was kind of self-publishing, anyone can kind of do that. But I think it's really become, now that everyone kind of has autonomy over their careers now, you don't really have to beholden to a publisher or a movie. People like you on YouTube are like blowing up. You can really have complete control over the creative process, and as long as you know a thing or two about marketing, you can make even more money than you would traditionally.
Absolutely. Cool. It's sort of a trade-off. Right now we don't really have that ship to carry us anymore, but at the end of the day, why do you want that ship anyways? If you can figure out, like you said, the marketing strategy and be able to control your work entirely, because we always heard those stories of musicians or authors who had to change their songs or their books because right. The higher ups always said, you know what, we think that we can use a little bit less of this. Same with films. And so it's exciting to think that now we're just getting the whole thing from everybody. We're not getting this filtered thing from another voice. I like audiobooks that are read from the author, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm having one of those come out too. I'm actually recording it this week.
You're recording it? You're going to be the voice?
Yeah, well, because just the way you said, like, I think it is, is important. It's my kind of, it's not really, it's kind of inspired by things that have happened, like people that I know in my life. So, as your first book, I think it really makes audiences relate to you more when they're hearing the words coming from you, and you, as long as you are like you have a good voice and like a good storyteller and you know what I mean, can be engaging. But I'm excited for that too. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Are you a naturally good storyteller, Kyle? How did this happen? Were you always telling stories, or what made you get into writing?
Yeah, I mean, I was ever since I was a kid, I remember getting like notebooks. Like my parents would get me like small notebooks and just like writing like novels, which was like 10 pages or something, and really like being just really creative in that way and kind of making.
Did you ever put out a series of novels, just like imaginary novels for an imaginary audience, maybe like 5 consistent series or something?
I mean, when I was a kid, yeah, I was writing that kind of stuff all the time. So, and this book that's coming out on Friday will be the first because again, I already kind of wrote the other 2 books that were in the original series I was signed to do. So this will be kind of the first in a small series.
So moving forward after the first release, what's the plan with the rest of the trilogy? Do you have an idea as to how you would like to release this? Obviously, you're going to do everything you can to get as many eyes as possible in the first book, get a lot of momentum and move forward from there. But do you have a natural trilogy you're trying to follow, a natural timeline?
Well, it's a good question. So the first one will be coming out obviously on Friday. The second one has really kind of already been written. I just kind of have to go back and polish it up just a little bit. But I was
it's almost done.
Yeah. So I was thinking about kind of doing that. All the books take place in the summertime. So I was thinking about releasing it even like later this year, like the end of the summer, just to kind of like have like keep the summer vibe going.
Absolutely. the big drop.
Exactly. And then the third one will be next year, probably. But yeah, that's kind of the plan.
All right. And moving forward from there, can we expect any other novels from you? Any other titles that are outside of what you're already writing? It sounds like you have lots of other exciting things cooking.
I do. Yeah. I think being a creative person, which is that I'm always kind of just like getting ideas for things that I want to do. And one of the reasons why I like writing so much, and I've done TV work and, all kinds of different media projects and different, formats. But what I love most about writing is that it's like so low budget. Like you can literally create the craziest like idea or something out of your imagination. And all you have to do is put it into, type it into your computer and it can become the story, So,
you type on the computer. You're not a pen to paper type of guy. You.
No, I wish I was. That sounds like more like writery. Like if I could like actually handwrite it, but I've gotten too used to typing.
Hey, that's a good thing. Well, it's all about consistency and speed, right? So that you're probably faster typing than writing it down at this point.
And then I get impatient. So, but yeah, I have a few different books, and I was just telling someone this recently. I think that when as you get older, I think the quest to like kind of come back to like how authentic you felt when you were a kid is like the whole point. You know what I mean? Like what am I supposed to like do and create and stuff? And I realized that because I have my hand in a bunch of different, you know, I do like media consulting and everything.
Right.
And writing is the thing that I feel like happiest to do most like myself. Like it's like the truest expression of myself. So I definitely would like to. So depending on how this first release goes, which I hope it goes well, I definitely have some more things in the hopper.
Very exciting. Hey, well, that's all really exciting. All right, you guys, coming up after our commercial break, we're going to talk to Kyle some more about his book and much more.
One of my goals for myself when I got out of, I guess, college or whatever, was to someone said to me like, oh, it's really smart to have like if you could have set up like multiple streams of income for yourself, like that would be a really great way to eventually not have like a 9-to-5 job someday. And that was really, it made sense to me. It was something that was really attractive. So I, in addition to this book, which is exciting, I'm doing this, I do media consulting. So I basically have different clients and I manage their social media strategy and content and everything. And so that's kind of another bucket that I'm working in. And it's a lot, you know. So, I mean, there's, speaking of like, you know, progression.
Yoga, meditation, life quotes. What are you doing? Mantras, all the above?
Exercise is huge. Like I love, especially at the end of the day, like just to kind of like exercise out all that stress, you know.
So your post work exercise, you don't wake up and go for you want after work to just let the stress be taken out with the exercise. Some people do morning, some people do night.
Yeah, that's kind of been my practice lately. I'm not opposed to a morning. In fact, I think it is probably smarter to do, but I like am so anxious to like get up and like start doing stuff that I put off to the end.
Is your daily routine very practical? Do you stick to a consistent routine when you get up, or do you just sort of rise and sleep whenever it's time to sleep? Are you getting consistent hours of rest, or are you not too focused on that?
Yeah, I mean, I like to say I get like between maybe, well, 6 hours for sure, but usually between like 6 or 7, 8, kind of around there. I actually overslept this morning, which felt really nice because I haven't done that in a while. But
you treat yourself on a Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting, Kyle. We talked about your things you've written. We've talked about, you know, things that you see and how you think and how you feel about lots of things. Let's talk about your media consulting. That's really exciting. How did you get into this, and how are you into this still today? What are you doing with regard to the media consulting?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was kind of like raised, I watched my parents be very entrepreneurial. I think that really kind of rubbed off on me. Like my dad was always like, they're both artists. And so my dad was like always wanting to like also, he would like make skateboards and like had like wanted to get his pilot's license. Like he was doing all these kind of different things. And so I got into media consulting because I just recognized that social media back in like 2012 or whatever was like the thing, you know, it was like really taking off. So I was like, well, I could just, you know, post on Facebook was basically the only platform then. I can like post on Facebook for different companies. And so I really just kind of started creating relationships with different companies and it's kind of evolved into, you know, a very small little agency, I guess you can call it, that I have now. And speaking of like taking breaks, I just had to hire someone to help me because I want weekends off. But
take a weekend off, Kyle. You owe yourself a weekend. You wrote the book. It's releasing this weekend. You need a break.
Yeah, burnout is real. Like it's tough. So it's all about kind of staying, you know, in good mental space so you can have time to create too, you know.
Where's the ideal place you'd like to get away to?
Well, I had like crazy burnout in January, and I just took like 4 days, and I just went to I live in LA, so I just went to the beach in Malibu just for not even like just for a couple of like day trips, and it was just so relaxing. So the beach is kind of my place.
Very nice. All right, the beach. Walks on the beach and just watching the water, watching the sunset.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Nice. All right. And so, Kyle, are you doing daily writing? What's your writing routine like right now? Obviously, you've finished the book, so you might be taking a little bit of a break. But prior to this, when you were, really going at it, what was your writing routine like? Were you writing every day? Were you writing all day, every day, every other day?
I would kind of go in spurts. I think one of the I spent a couple of weeks where I would wake up, like have some coffee, have like a big coffee, and then write from for about like 7 hours or a day, which was really cool to just live in your imagination for that long of a period of time.
Right.
And then, just to kind of stay in it, like I listen to music a lot when I write. I will watch a movie or something at the end of the day to kind of like keep my creativity.
The juice is flowing.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah.
So you consume media to keep the juices flowing. For you, it's like consuming media and taking things in, such as, shows. Are you watching a lot of shows? What's the media you're taking in?
Yeah, I think, I'll say, and I think it's also more about like the emotion of the stuff. Like I get very into whatever I'm watching, and when you can kind of connect to that emotion of something, like that is what really kind of like inspires me and like stimulates me to keep creating. As far as what I'm watching, I just watched The Queen's Gambit, which was obviously awesome.
Well, that's a great. I haven't actually watched it yet, but my friends Matthew and Russell Lewis are in it, so shout out to them. They're the twins. I haven't seen it once again, but I gotta catch it.
It's really good. It's a very well done show. It's almost felt like a true story, which it wasn't, which kind of like is the mark of something really great.
Something good. Absolutely. Yeah. We needed something original. A lot of remakes and stuff.
Yeah. So that was really good. I want to start there's this
Can we go back to I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I really wanted to touch on this subject before we move on. You allow these media, anything, whether it's shows, you allow this openness. Is this natural for you to open up to this side of you and say, let me be affected by the media? Because some of us just want to watch stuff, I'm not going to say like in a brain dead matter, but we just sort of want to watch stuff so we can just like fizzle away into other subjects. But you're actually opening yourself up to consume it, and not only that, but be affected by it. So it's like very interesting.
Yeah, that really is kind of one of my New Year's resolutions was to like not be on my phone when I was watching a movie, because it's so easy to just check Instagram or whatever. But I really do think that when you have like an uninterrupted time of like watching something, at least for me, I really get like really drawn in. And I think by nature I'm a pretty empathetic person. So when I'm watching like The Queen's Gambit or whatever, I'm like, wow, I wonder what it would be like to, be a chess,
Absolutely.
And really just take in like the emotion of what that means, to me, I think it's really, it helps me. It like drives me to create more,
We can't let go of that sense of freedom of jumping onto a ride, such as a movie, and just staying for it. The whole thing, you're so right about staying away from the phone, even if it's just for one film or one episode, because there's something really healthy, I think, about just letting yourself engage in something other than this device that sort of controls lots of our lives. Really, the phone has so much control over us. So to sort of stay away from it is sort of like staying away from a toxic relationship and assessing your own situation, right?
It's really true. I mean, working in social media, I can't wait to put my phone down at the end of the day because I'm always on it, I feel. So when I watch, a piece of content or even reading, I like to read a lot, obviously, because I just like books, but that's a really nice way to kind of take in that creativity, that emotion too.
What is Kyle Langen reading today? What is an author consuming himself?
I am reading a book called, gosh, I forget. Isn't that so terrible? I forget what it's called. It's called The Woman Inside, and it's about this kind of messed up marriage and how there's all these kind of different kind of moving pieces that you find out as you read the book. I like a lot of dark books, which is really funny because I wouldn't characterize myself as like a dark person by any means. But it's cool because I like to kind of really explore that kind of world. And I'm really interested in like the psychology of what makes people do things. And
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's the psychology. It's that whole mystery, join for the ride and go along for it.
yeah, that really interests me. So I really like to kind of, so yeah, I like a lot of like kind of darker books, or like a black
Nice.
comedy book, or like I love that kind of stuff.
Can you recommend our audience, something you would recommend to them just in general that you say, I'm recommending this to you guys that, they would love to hear?
There's a book called, one of my favorite books is called A Long Way Down, and it's by the guy Nick Hornby is the author, and he wrote movies too, like About a Boy and all these kind of movies. And it's really interesting. It's about these four people who in London, and they go up to a skyscraper on New Year's Eve, like separately from each other, and they all are going to want to commit suicide by jumping off the building. And then they all meet, the four of them meet each other up there, like not knowing, like, oh, there's someone else who wants to commit suicide too. And then they kind of form this really special relationship. And it's kind of like the story over the course of maybe the next year or something, that they get to know each other and bond. It's very like dark, but very funny too. I'd recommend that.
All right. A Long Way Down.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wonderful, Kyle. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time, Kyle. And can we get the name of the book one more time that's releasing?
Yeah, my book is called Uncharted Waters. It will be available on Amazon as paperback and Kindle, and also as an audiobook on Friday.
Fantastic. And how can we find you on social media?
My social media, every channel is at Kyle J. Langen.
All right, Kyle, it's been a great pleasure. It's been great hearing your words, your upbringing, and just your views on life. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our audience with? Some motivation, maybe a quote we can leave with?
A quote. I think that, well, kind of speaking about the book, I think that there was a great quote by John Lennon that he said, life happens when you're busy making other plans. And I think that's such a great quote because it kind of embodies having to be adaptable. Whatever kind of you plan out might change, and you just kind of have to be ready for whatever life throws at you. So, yeah.
All right, Kyle. Well, wonderful. Really appreciate your words, Kyle. Take great care, and we'll get you on in the future to follow up.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Kyle.